Hello again and welcome back. You just caught the annual Day of the Dev celebration, showing off a bunch of great new indies. And before that, Geoff Keighley had some great surprises for us with Summer Game Fest Kickoff Live. It's all part of IGN's Summer of Gaming 2021, which is only just getting started. I'm your host, Damon Hatfield, and here to recap everything we just saw, here are Destin Legary, Miranda Sanchez, and Ryan McCaffrey. Welcome back, everybody.
Good to be back.
Elden Ring!
You guys, I'm so excited.
Finally!
I'm so excited for something that's not even the thing that everyone else is excited about.
Okay, so let's not mess around. What did you guys think was the absolute biggest reveal of the show? Has to be Elden Ring, right?
Yes.
Just by
Yes,
a country
painfully,
mile.
yes.
Painfully, yes? Oh my gosh. We actually have a response from one of our fans on Twitter. S. Brad said, cancel all the other events. Nothing is topping this. Finally, an Elden Ring release date. The hype is real. It is out January 21st, 2022 on current and last gen consoles. Destin, you seem to maybe be the most excited for us. Why don't you kick us off? What did you think of the reveal?
I'm really excited. I was blown away by the reveal. I just love seeing the bosses that we're going to be fighting. There's going to be, horseback combat, or you can fight on foot. You can play alone. You can play with other players. And it looks excellent. The website's been updated. We got a bunch of details on the lore of this new world. You're a tarnished. You're trying to brandish the power of the Elden Ring. Queen Marika, the Eternal, is sending out all these demigods that you got to take down. I cannot wait to dive in, play this, and just continue to be enamored by this world that has been created by From Software.
Yeah, it seems like it's supposedly the biggest world that they've ever created for one of these games. Ryan, what was your reaction to this gameplay reveal?
Two things. One, huge feather in the cap for Geoff Keighley that he got that trailer and not Sony or Microsoft. Well, I guess, Sony, we don't know if and what they're doing, but it's not on Microsoft stages, on Geoff's. I mean, that's bravo, Mr. Keighley. That is a job well done. And number two, that sound you hear is the sound of Bloodborne fans who are just, their anxiety is calmed and they're suddenly like not as stressed about not getting Bloodborne 2 because they have this to look forward to. I love that they've kind of just been quiet about it to the point where it's out in just over 6 months. It's like 7 months away. So we should expect probably to see a lot more gameplay, maybe Gamescom, maybe some of these other couple of events that we'll have between now and then, maybe the Game Awards. Wouldn't be surprised if we got like a launch trailer there in December. So yeah, it won't be long before we're playing this thing.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, it was similar to how they handled Sekiro. I think that was revealed at E3 and then was out about 6 months later after that, if I remember correctly. Miranda, tell us about your responses to Elden Ring.
So I was late to the Souls train, and I got to play Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls 3 pretty close to each other, and very quickly became a fan of the storytelling. I've long heard of just how obscure these games are and how much you actually really just need to take your time and read, and how many secrets there are throughout these games. And as a huge, guide fan who loves 100%ing things, I am just ecstatic. There's this one shot in here of a guy like just peering over these papers like real close. I'm like, that's me. That's me right there. I am so very excited. I love the idea of having a mount. As they said, this is going to be the biggest world, so that means you got to get around somehow. And I am happy to have a buddy to have, except it's a little bit anxious about having a buddy too, because it's like, oh no, did they just stay where I died? I loved sort of the nods to, other Souls projects, you could say, because there is like a very heavy emphasis on fire. Like one of the things is like the flame of ambition. It's like someone wants to extinguish it. It's just stuff like, I see you. And of course you have the bonfires. There are just so many familiar elements here, which makes a lot of sense because it is still a FromSoft game. But it does seem like such a good blend of like what we loved in the Souls series with a little bit of that gothic vibe from Bloodborne. But this very much does have its own identity. And I'm, just excited to see what it has. I do like always seeing summons, like someone please come help me with this boss if you don't mind. So I think this is going to be, I think this is going to be one I'm really excited to tackle. I'm already enamored with the monster designs. That's something I think FromSoft just excels at so well. And, as you guys said, it's coming soon in January, no less. January is a weird time for big game releases, which is great because that means we're gonna have plenty of time, hopefully, just to focus on this game.
I think there's a Pokemon game coming out around the same time in January. Does that sound right, Miranda?
Some
does
tough
sound right.
competition.
Yeah, I know.
That's
Probably not a
competition
lot
for
of
me.
overlapping buyers there.
That's me. Do you see the
Miranda's
stones
in the
with
middle of the Venn
Pikachu?
diagram.
Yeah. Although this game, Elden Ring, might be the earliest 2022 release date we know of so far, I think. Destin, is the addition of a mount and ability to traverse on horseback significant to you?
Yeah, absolutely. They actually, just looking at the website, it actually reveals a lot of details about how gameplay is going to change slightly for this sort of genre. Charge into battle, pick off enemies one by one using stealth, or even call upon allies for aid, as Miranda alluded to. Many options are at your disposal as you decide how to approach exploration and combat. So I have to wonder if you can just call that mount and get from point A to point B. I remember like in Dark Souls 3, grinding out on the bridge just to get, souls so that you could upgrade your character. This could potentially, the whole mount thing, give you another option to get around the world quickly and just get where you want to go to potentially farm souls or whatever it happens to be in this game and get back to that boss battle where you've been vanquished and give it another go. I like that a lot.
Yeah, it looks very, very cool. I love the creature and the world design. We don't know yet what George R.R. Martin is sort of bringing to the table here. We don't really know what the stakes are, what the story is, what the characters are like, but that'll give them a nice little a beat they can hit later on this summer, like Ryan mentioned, maybe along with Gamescom. Definitely excited to see more, learn more about Elden Ring. But let's switch gears to Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. Leaked before the show today, heavily rumored, turns out to be true. It's got a really good cast starring Andy Samberg, Wanda Sykes, Will Arnett. It is a standalone game with character customization. Ryan, does this seem like something you'd be into? Did you play the previous Tiny Tina DLC for Borderlands 2?
I did not. I'm pretty casual when it comes to Borderlands. My favorite Borderlands is actually Tales from the Borderlands from Telltale, which I adore. But I'm surprised that this doesn't have the Borderlands name on it. I mean, obviously it's in the universe, it's a spinoff, but Borderlands is such a big franchise, big IP. I'm really surprised it's not Borderlands, Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. I know that might seem like a simple, small thing, but just that, that brand recognition can go a long way. So, I mean, I admire Gearbox and 2K. You're like really trying to fully commit to this being its own thing. And clearly, like gameplay wise, it's going to be like it's. We saw the description there that Tina is like your dungeon master and you're playing in this fantasy setting and it's a looter shooter. So, I mean, I'm definitely intrigued by the concept. It's probably a good way to bring in people who maybe haven't clicked with Borderlands. They're like, well, but what about this little sort of offshoot fantasy variant of it? Give that a try. And obviously Borderlands fans are naturally going to be more inclined to give it a go too. So yeah, I'm really curious to see how this actually plays, like literally plays out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we don't know much yet. We know it's coming early 2022 as well. Miranda, what was your reaction to Tiny Tina's Wonderlands?
Very much echoing Ryan's. Tales from Borderlands is also my favorite. But Ryan, to your point, I think having that separate from the Borderlands name does make it a little bit more accessible, or is something that I would be more interested in if I were not super familiar with Borderlands. I think there are a lot of franchises out there that are very storied. Like if you look at Final Fantasy, do you see how many numbers are on that? Do you know how intimidating that is? So I think if you're not really familiar with games as much, or if you're just getting into video games and you say, oh, this is Borderlands, how many? Where does this fit in? Is this for me? So I think by knocking that off and just like letting it showcase Tiny Tina, and the fact that it is supposed to be a very different sort of identity, even though it is still looter shooter, it's like a fantasy looter shooter in their own style. I think there's going to be something there that will just really differentiate it to be a good experience that could lead people to the rest of the Borderlands series. I do like that it's a fantasy looter shooter. It's like, that's going to be very interesting. And I also love that this grew out of the Borderlands 2 DLC. I think it's so fun to see like Dev say, we loved this specific theme, like this cool thing we tried, and now we're making a whole game out of it. Like, that's just fantastic.
Sure. Destin, I'm going to guess that you're more of a Borderlands Prime guy than a Tales from the Borderlands guy. Although you can like both, of course.
Well, I think the main problem with this is, Damon, we don't really know anything. They came out, they said it's going to be a little bit different, really, really great cast list, but you know, being able to customize your character and launch in early 2022 isn't really a selling point for me. I just need to know more about what the gameplay is going to be like, and I don't feel like they hooked me in that respect, but they do have an event coming up where I think they're going to talk about it a lot more.
Sure. What would you like? What would hook you? What would you like the gameplay to be?
Guns, lots
Just
and
guns.
lots of
Okay.
silly guns.
But you already
funny
have Borderlands.
storytelling.
That's just Borderlands.
Yeah, I know. I just want more Borderlands. Like the writing in the Borderlands franchise is usually really, really funny, or at least it has enough comedic beats within it that sort of keeps you going along with the narrative. And I would love to see more of that personally.
Spells are just medieval guns, Destin, so you'll be okay.
Well,
Some
we've got to take a
prospects.
We have to take a quick break, but we are just getting started here. We've still got tons more news to recap and discuss. Maybe have small, slightly heated arguments over, or maybe not. We'll be right back after this break, so stick around.
IGN's Summer of Gaming is powered by Duracell Optimum. All summer long, we're bringing you the game announcements, developer interviews, and all the demos you care about. So get comfortable and get ready to play. Upgrade your Xbox controller with Duracell Optimum batteries today.